Filing taxes in the US can feel, well, complicated, right? But for millions of people, there's this whole other layer of complexity, and it all starts with a little 9-digit number called an ITIN. So today, we're going to break down exactly what it is, why getting one can be so tough, and how you can actually navigate this system to get the tax credits you're entitled to. All right, here's our game plan. Think of it like a hurdle race. First, we're going to cover the basics, the number you absolutely need to even get in the race. Then we'll hit that first big obstacle, what I'm calling the application paradox. After that, we'll untangle a huge mix-up with tax credits, look at some of the biggest system hurdles, and then we'll finish up with your actionable takeaways, everything you need to cross that finish line. So, first up, let's get to the starting line. We've got to understand the single most important piece of equipment for this whole process, the ITIN itself. Okay, so what is this thing really? At its core, an ITIN is purely for federal tax purposes. That's it. It's a 9-digit number, it always starts with a 9, and it's designed for one main reason: to let people file their taxes and comply with US law, regardless of their immigration status. Now, this is where a ton of confusion comes in, so it's really important we get this straight. An ITIN is absolutely essential for filing tax returns and building a tax history. But let's be crystal clear about what it is not. It is not a work permit, it has zero impact on your immigration status, and it doesn't get you any closer to Social Security benefits. Nailing down this distinction is fundamental to understanding the whole system. Okay, let's move on to our first big challenge. A lot of new applicants get totally stuck in what feels like an impossible loop. It's a classic bureaucratic catch-22 that can stop you dead in your tracks before you even really start. And there it is, the paradox. People literally get rejection letters saying their application was denied because it wasn't attached to a tax return. But how in the world are you supposed to file a tax return if you don't have the number you need to file it? It's an incredibly frustrating circular problem. So, how do you solve it? Well, the trick is, you don't. You just bypass it. The key is to prepare both your tax return and your ITIN application, that's Form W-7, at the very same time. Then, and this is the crucial part, you mail them all together in one single package. That way the IRS gets both documents at once, they can process them simultaneously, and boom, you've broken that frustrating cycle. Okay, let's dive into the next hurdle. And honestly, this is a big one that costs filers real money. It all comes down to understanding the critical difference between two tax credits for dependents. If you get this wrong, it can lead to denied credits and much smaller refunds. So here's the core idea that trips so many people up. A lot of ITIN filers are eligible for a tax credit for their kids. The big mistake is claiming the wrong one. Your eligibility really just boils down to one very specific detail. And this table just breaks it all down perfectly. The key differentiator, the one thing that changes everything, is the type of number your child has. If your child has a Social Security number, you can claim the child tax credit. That's worth up to $2,000, and it's even partially refundable. But, and this is the key, if your child has an ITIN, you have to claim the credit for other dependents. It's a smaller, non-refundable credit of $500. So, let's say you've cleared the paradox and you know exactly which credit to claim. You think you're in the clear, right? Well, even when you do everything right, the system itself can throw up some major roadblocks, and the data on this is pretty staggering. Let's just start with the sheer scale of the problem. In a single year, the IRS rejected over 250,000 ITIN applications. Just let that sink in. That's more than 250,000 people who are actively trying to comply with the law, only to get sent right back to square one. Now look at the direct financial hit from these systemic issues. And this isn't about people making mistakes. This is the system itself, automatically denying over $6 million in legitimate credits. A lot of times this happens because an older ITIN expired due to a rule change, and the system just erases a valid claim with no human review. It's wild. And here the stakes get deeply personal. See, to apply for an ITN, you have to mail in original critical documents, like your passport. In 2023 alone, the IRS destroyed nearly 8,000 of those documents because they lost contact with the applicant. I mean, can you imagine? That is a massive personal risk for anyone who's just trying to follow the rules. So after running through this whole gauntlet, what are the key strategies you really need to know? How do you make sure your application and your tax return actually cross the finish line without getting tripped up? All right, here are the 4 most important actions you can take to get through this successfully. First, file everything together, always. Second, know your credit. If your child has an ITIN, you claim the ODC. Third, and this is a really crucial pro tip, manually check the ODC box in your tax form. Sometimes the software just misses it. And finally, to protect your documents, think about using a certifying acceptance agent instead of mailing your original passport. So this all leaves us with a final, really important question. The ITIN program helps collect billions in tax revenue, which is great. But we've seen the systemic hurdles, the crazy high rejection rates, and the really serious consequences for people who are just trying to comply. So the real question is, how can this system be improved to be more efficient and more fair for everyone involved?